It's Thursday and we're in Simpsonville, South Carolina. Today it got down into the upper 40s. It's actually expecting to have a freeze, and in the high elevations in the mountains, they're actually looking at snow. Some of the ski resorts in north part of North Carolina actually had 1 inch of snow, which is unprecedented for this time of year. It's going to be exciting for those that love to ski. So Lois continues to have some improvement, but she's still quite sick, so we appreciate your continued prayers as she battles this flu or whatever she's got. In Proverbs chapter 23, verse 9, it says, "Do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of your words." That's interesting, isn't it? That if you speak in the hearing of someone who is not very smart or very well in tune, he'll despise your wisdom. And maybe that's exactly what's happened on a couple of situations that I've recently been involved in on the internet, as people have gotten mad with one another over politics, and everybody says there are two things you shouldn't talk about: politics and religion. But is that really true? I mean, is it true that we shouldn't talk about politics or religion just because they are sometimes controversial? Certainly we need to share our faith, so I certainly dismiss the fact that we should never talk about religion. On the other hand, we should never hit anybody over the head with our Bible. And so here we are in the situation of both Scripture and of the Scriptures as they relate to politics. And so I wanted to lay down some guidelines, if you will, of what I believe that a conscientious and good, godly Christian should do when it comes to dealing with Scriptures and also politics. I had a very wise pastor a number of years ago who says that we're traveling down a road and there's a ditch on either side. The extremes of a situation, for example, liberalism on one ditch and finding a legalism on the other ditch. And we're to go down the middle of the road, not being legalistic and at the same time not being liberal and buying into the standards of the world. Well, I think the same thing is true with talking about religion, and the same thing is true when it comes to talking about politics. There's no question that a Christian has a responsibility to speak out and to share their faith, but not to bruise the fruit, and therefore we shouldn't be embarrassed to share our faith, but we should not do it in a forceful or a condescending or a judgmental way, but rather just planting the seeds if necessary and waiting for them to take root. And I think the same thing is true in politics. I think that it's very true that if good men say nothing when corruption and wrong is being done, that it's a terrible thing, and to not debate whether or not an issue is good or bad is not a bad thing. So let me give you 3 guidelines for these issues of both religious talk and also political talk. Number 1 and foremost for both, is it true? We shouldn't pass on rumors and innuendos and things that we have not checked out to be sure that they're really true. We have an obligation to speak truth. The second thing is that we should be careful as to how we share that truth. If we do it in love and we do it out of true concern, it could cause the person that's hearing that truth to investigate for themselves, to test their own beliefs, or to maybe even change their beliefs and take action upon what they've learned. If someone perhaps voted for Obama and you attack him and you do it in such a way that is not even any truth in the things that you attack, obviously they're going to raise up their hair and be very aggravated with you. On the other hand, if you make sure that your facts are true and you've carefully investigated the material that you're putting out, then perhaps if it's done in love, you can create in them an interest to see whether or not it's true. I know that I perhaps understand this as well as anyone, in the fact that I voted for Bush. And many people attacked him, and when they attacked him, my natural instinct was to defend like crazy President Bush. Not all of the things that President Bush did were good. He wasn't one of our best presidents. On the other hand, if I look at the attacks that came against Reagan, most of those were very easily fended off because he surrounded himself with good people and made a lot of good decisions. So with Obama and with all of the things that are going on right now, be sure it's true. Investigate yourself to be sure that it's true, and then be sure that however you present that truth is done in love and not in an antagonistic way, because it will absolutely do just the reverse of what you're hoping for. But don't think that everyone is going to change or everyone is going to realize mistakes that they've made just because you told the truth and you told them in love. Remember, it says, do not speak in the hearing of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of your words. We live in a world that has become corrupt, a world that has become very interested in what the government can do for them instead of what's best for the country. And so when we tell the truth, sometimes it will fall on deaf ears. The scriptures certainly talk about end times and people rejecting the truth. So I hope today, as you think about passing along internet clips, or as you think about passing along things about politics or religion, that you'll remember these tests. Is it true? Should others be told? And then will I tell them in love in a way that might cause them to investigate for themselves, test their own beliefs, and take a look at with honesty as to the selection that they've made for politicians or for beliefs and faith. Hope you'll test everything that you say before you say it. And remember, even when you've done that, there's a possibility that the person that hears your words will despise the wisdom of your words. God bless you and have a great day.